you were able to train and fight a lot during the pandemic, which is
Mhm.
really hard for a lot of people. And I think like a lot of people would love to know how you were able. Like I know you did a lot of traveling. You got the fuck out of Canada because of what was going on here with the lockdowns and all that
Mhm.
bullshit. But how did
Mhm.
you manage to compete so frequently, compete at a very high level, do very well, given the fact that in Canada, where you're from, where you live, you can do shit, or at least it was hard enough to do shit, right?
Mhm. I think I just got lucky, man. Like we kept getting fight offers and kept saying yes to them. I think a lot of people when this shit first went down too were like, they had the wrong impression of what travel was actually like. Like when my first fight during the pandemic happened, I went to Miami, and it
Yeah,
was like a few months after all the lockdown stuff started, so like no one was traveling at all.
yeah,
And you go to the airport, and like no one gave a shit. Like going through the airport was still totally normal. Like when I came back, there was a quarantine, so that was new. But to go anywhere was like there was no restrictions. Like shit was closed and whatever, but they weren't stopping you from going anywhere. So it was actually fairly easy. But yeah, I think I just got lucky in terms of like getting fights during all this stuff.
were you able to keep up training? I mean, I know you went to the States, you're in Las Vegas for a while,
Yeah,
preparing, but when you were at home, did you find it difficult? I know you guys have a close knit group down
yeah,
where you are, but still, was it a little bit difficult having to sneak around to kind of get into places to just to do your job, you know?
yeah. That was actually the biggest hassle was just the training. Like we had bylaw officers like calling the gym and shit all the time and trying to shut us down. Actually, one day somebody left the door unlocked when we were having like one of our private training sessions, and this bylaw chick came down and like started taking notes and like was about to write up some tickets and shit. We had like 30 fucking shirtless, sweaty guys down in the basement gym. I've never seen the place clear out so fast, man. She came down and like someone's like, "Oh, that's bylaw," and everyone was out of there in like fucking 2 minutes. It was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you still got it done. You still were able to prepare, but I can't imagine it was easy. And then you took off for Las Vegas, right? For
Yeah,
a lot of those fights.
yeah.
How was the training down there? Where were you at there? You were at
Syndicate.
Syndicate. How was
Yeah.
I know they have a big room there with a lot of high school guys. How did
hmm
how did that room kind of compare to getting ready for your fights that you had?
It was good, man. I actually didn't plan on staying that long down there either. I was gonna go for like a month or two, and then like I had to apply for a work visa. So then this process is going on. You're not allowed to like travel country borders with that. So I ended up staying the whole time. But it was sick, man. I've been there once before, a few years back, and made some connections. And I wanted to go somewhere for that Contender Series training camp. So I went back there, and yeah, it was awesome. Like you
Yeah.
said, a lot of high level guys in that room.
Well, yeah, a lot of high level guys and definitely pushing you, and to, I mean, the bonus part about that is they're all getting ready for UFC, Bellator, ONE FC fights as well. So they're all pushing themselves at the same time. It's not like you were going there and you're the only one getting ready, right?
Exactly,
Which happens in Canada a lot of the times, where
for
like
sure.
you're the only one in the room that has a fight, which kind of
Yeah,
it sucks because then you got to get guys to push you, but they're not pushing themselves, so it
the
can
energy is not the same.
yeah, it's not the same energy, but I mean, at a gym like that, I can guarantee the energy is 100% all the time. Do you almost have to scale yourself back sometimes from overtraining in a place like that?
Yeah, and especially considering I was down there for like 5 or 6 months with my fight book, like it was the longest training camp ever. They scheduled it really far in advance for that Contender Series fight. So yeah, like I had to take a few weekends off and shit to not overdo it. Another cool thing about Vegas is that because it's right by the UFCPI and there were so many fights going on there, like
Yeah,
during the pandemic, they were just hosting it all there. There's so many guys coming in and out that need a gym for like a few weeks, like they're from out of country or just from further away, so they come into Vegas and they're just looking for a gym to train at for a few weeks. So you get like a lot of guys coming in and out and different bodies and stuff, which is cool.
and I know like you're experienced, but did you get a little starstruck a couple times when some of those guys walked in?
For sure. Biggest one was Cowboy.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
you did some sparring with him.
yeah, I started Cowboy for Run. You know, dude, the way I met him was actually so funny too. he thought I was Mike Pyle at first because Mike Pyle had a mullet back in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. He came up behind me and like smacked me on the ass, and I turned around and he's like, "Oh, you're not Mike Pyle. I thought you were Mike Pyle." And he got so fucking weird about it, and like wouldn't talk to me for the next 20 minutes. And he like finally warmed up to me, and we ended up sparring. But no, he was like super weirded out at first.
When you started sparring, you're like, "Holy fucking shit! I'm fucking sparring with Cowboy shit."
Yeah,
And then you get hit once, you're like, "Okay, this is real. I gotta fucking."
yeah, it was pretty cool, man.
And he's a cool guy. I'm assuming he's just a
Yeah,
really, yeah, like
really chill dude.
he's
Yeah,
as advertised, like how he is in the media is how he is in real life.
exactly,
Right? Yeah.
exactly.
And so Las Vegas, you think that's like home away from home for you in terms of preparation now?
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I got a lot of connections there, and like me and my girl stayed at an Airbnb, and we made good friends with the host, and she became like a mother to us down there, with like cooking food for us and stuff all the time. So that was cool. But I was just down in Florida for a few weeks, and I feel
Yeah.
like I have another home there too, and it's closer, and now I have some connections there. So
Yeah, you were training with Hoofs guys at Sanford, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's another beast of a room too.
for sure. Yeah.
They have a lot
So
of more Brazilians there too, don't they?
yeah, a lot of Brazilians, just a lot of guys in general. Like same with Vegas, man. I think they have like 200 pro fighters or something on their team. I heard.
Yeah, that's a fucking lot of guys. As
Yeah,
hard as that's one of those rooms where you don't stand out from the crowd. You kind of just you're just
yeah,